Strategic planning is one of the key skills an entrepreneur needs to have mastered in order to be successful in business. In a previous video, I talked about the 8 main skills an entrepreneur needs. This is number 5 on that list of 8 skills. So, why is strategic planning so important? Well, the main reason is the entrepreneur is the business owner, and they're the key decision maker in the business. So, if they're not the one making decisions and doing strategic planning, nobody is. So oftentimes an entrepreneur gets stuck in the day-to-day grind and they're focused mostly on just surviving each day, as opposed to thinking about where am I trying to head, and is today getting successful day completed also moving me towards this ideal future I'm trying to live out. If you haven't defined the future and thought about some of the steps headed in that direction, some of the obstacles to overcome, the limiting factors, the actions, what you might need to learn, if you haven't evaluated that information, your chances of just stumbling there is almost zero. Now, what I find is a lot of entrepreneurs don't really know what a CEO is supposed to do. Well, this is the job of a CEO. It's to have the vision of where the company should be going and to be the decision-making factory. So decisions come to the CEO. They have to pick out, do we do this or that? What do we do? Each decision that doesn't get made becomes a traffic jam of decisions. And now the company can halt, can come to a standstill. So the clearer the vision is, the easier decisions are, the less likely you get bound up and stuck. So having a clear picture is really, really important. So why don't more people do this? Well, number one is they don't have the knowledge. So it's my clear understanding that first you have to have the knowledge to know how to work on a skill. 2, you have to have the beginning application of the skill itself to develop it. So the knowledge is the first part. Many people are actually too afraid to do strategic planning because that's in line with setting a goal. And they figure, if I don't set a goal, I don't fail. Well, actually, if you don't set a goal, you just fail every day and you can act like you don't know that's true. If you set a goal, at least you have clear steps to take towards that. So not setting a goal is not a very good option. The next thing is, what is the meaning of success? What is the definition of success? And I like Earl Nightingale's definition, which is success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal or goal. So it's the progressive realization. It doesn't happen overnight. It's the individual steps that you take of a worthy ideal or goal of someplace you actually want to be. So the goal isn't to be efficient and just do a lot of things in a day. It's to be effective, meaning we're doing things in a day that move us towards the desired goal. So if we're just surviving each day and doing a lot of work, turning a lot of billable hours, but those aren't moving us from where we are now towards the goal in any way, shape, or form, that day was actually a failure. Now, usually moving towards our goal does require us to be earning money so we can stay in business. So I'm not saying you should stop doing the work and just do thinking, sitting in your room and imagining how nice the future would be if you were a billionaire. But there's a combination of the two that has to happen. And it's so easy for the owner to just dive into doing the work because that's what you're comfortable with. That's what I know best is how to do the work. I'm not the master on strategic planning, but it's important to become a piece doing both because if you're not clocking in for the strategic planning time, nobody is. And it takes time. You sit in a room with a notepad and you think, and maybe you have a session where nothing comes out. You sat and you thought, and the end result is nothing. It feels like a waste of time. Well, it might take a few of those nothing sessions to stack up to get a better vision and idea of what needs to happen going forward. So I think of a roadmap for a strategic plan as, first of all, where are you now? Next is, where is it that you'd like to be? Where is your goal? And the next is, where are you currently headed? Usually we're not actually headed towards our goal. And between where we are and where the goal is versus where we're headed, there's a space. In that space, there are the specific actions that we need to take to move from where we're headed to where we'd like to be. Usually just doing the same thing doesn't get us there. Also, there's some limitations we must overcome to get there. That can be lack of knowledge, lack of resources, lack of mentorship, lack of ideas, lack of implementation, but those limitations must be overcome and extra actions must be taken. Basically, think about like you're a boat headed in the wrong direction. You're not going to be able to just decide to go a different way. You have to put a lot of force into changing the direction of that boat. So redirecting your roadmap is really, really important. Now, I do want to say another common thing I see business owners do. The first mistake was they don't set a goal at all. The second is that they set goals that are different every single day in totally different directions. So one day they want to be a service-based business. The next they want to be a product-based business. The next they want lots of employees. Then they want to have a business by themselves. And they change each of these goals so fast, they never get to progress towards them and have any success. This type of way of being is kind of like a dog in the backyard trying to chase all of the squirrels at once. They'll never catch any, they'll just spin in circles and bark themselves silly. You have to pick out a singular goal and stay with it. Keep staying with it long enough to have a chance to work. There can be a time where you can decide, this goal isn't realistic, but I've chased it as far as I can. With that new knowledge, it's time to pivot and adapt. But if you're nonstop pivoting, that's just another way to protect yourself from failure and not actually serving you. Just like not setting any goals whatsoever is protecting your ego and your emotions, but not actually serving you in business. So strategic planning is the fifth of the 8 really key skills in business. This can be a hard one to work on. I'd love to help you out. If you have questions about that, let me know in the comments. Have a wonderful rest of your day.